Good morning, wherever you are. Today, let's talk about hands. The last two episodes were focused on mindset and ears, and on the journey to becoming a great sound designer, we need to focus on doing. The doing is the scary part, right? This is the part where, the mistakes are made. This is the part that takes a toll on your body and on your mind. And it's probably the part where most people stop because it's the part that nobody else can do for you, and you can't do it vicariously through anybody else. It's all about getting the hands dirty, and even though, in my opinion, it's not the most important part of the journey in becoming a great sound designer, it's definitely the part that contributes the most to the end result. So, welcome to episode 3 of The Echo Chamber. Okay, so it's not that scary. Getting the hands dirty is basically something you have to do in whatever field you work in. It's about putting in the 10,000 hours that it takes to master your craft. But this is why I think getting the hands dirty is not the most important part, right? Because it's not just about putting in the 10,000 hours. It's about knowing where to put in the 10,000 hours in relation to what you're trying to achieve. Because you could spend 10,000 hours on the wrong things. And that is why the mindset and the ear training is so important, because these are not 10,000 random hours. They are 10,000 intentional, repetitive, troubleshooting, dirty hours. And this is how I look at it. You're not just learning how to use tools, you're learning why to use tools. And so even though it's a hands episode, it obviously still involves using your brain and your mind, because you're going to need to learn and consume. And you're consuming information that doesn't look like turn this knob down by 5 decibels when you see this problem. But instead you're looking for, why does this sound need to be turned down when in this context? You're looking for information that's more like, what does this knob do to the sound when I turn it down? So what that helps you do is, it helps you understand the sound. It helps you understand your soundscape as opposed to using the tool as a formula. And what it means is that with your hands, you can use any tool to achieve what you want. If I can, as a farmer, I should be able to replicate what I can do with a cutlass, with a hoe, if that's all I have at hand. No pun intended. And as a mechanic, for example, I should be able to, with context, know what exactly in the engine needs to be fixed, and not just use a formula that says, oh, when I hear this sound, it's always the alternator, because sometimes it's not the alternator. And that is what your 10,000 hours is basically going to be focused on. It's on training your discernment, because that is what will inform all your choices in sound design. All right, so what does this look like? It looks like prioritizing things that don't seem to matter. It looks like fixing broken sessions. It looks like editing out things that nobody else is going to notice. It looks like organizing chaos. It looks like learning workflow. It looks like things that seem just like stress, but it's whatever it takes. That's the mindset, right? So if I know that labeling my files properly is going to make it easier and faster for me to work, then I'm not going to look at that as something stressful, right? Because it's contributing to the end goal. And so I will label my tracks. I will clean my dialogue meticulously. I will fix that mismatched ambience that it seems like nobody else is going to hear. I'm going to name and listen properly to every file, every clip in my session, every bus. I'm going to write that fader again. I'm going to touch everything. And the truth is, timelines and reality will limit what you can do on every project. But with this mindset, I don't believe it's possible to have a bad sound design, especially if the mindset and ears have been trained properly. So, the toll is real. You will listen to that mix again. The one you exported at 2 a.m. and thought was perfect. You will rework it. And you won't mind, because you're working on building an instinct and discernment, which will allow you to be able to do this even better and even faster the next time you do it. So this is the part where you get the neck strain and the back pain, and it's a part where you need to work on treating your body right, and it's the part where you deal with burnout, and it's the part where you hear somebody else's mix and you're like, oh my God. But is it going to get you to stop, or is it going to motivate you to continue? That's for you to decide. Because it's the hard part, but it's also the part where you actually become a sound designer. It's not by watching, and it's not by listening. So last time on the Echo Chamber, I played 2 audio files. The dialogue had a phasing issue. Phasing is basically a polarity issue. We can talk about that on future episodes. And the music had an expression and EQ issue. Basically mix issue and an issue with the expression on the instruments themselves. Hopefully we get enough time to talk about these on future episodes of the podcast. But for today, that's all I have to say. Get your hands dirty. Cheers.
The Echo Chamber is brought to you by Fisayo Adefolaju.